Hey guys, Summer Blazer, Cory Neubauer here with Next Level Living Podcast. Oh my gosh.
Are we doing this?
We are doing it, and I'm super excited about it. This podcast, it was created because, of course, we want to talk about HOA insurance and the struggles that many managers and board members go through, but we also want to bring in kind of all of the other aspects of community living, which is, the community, health and wellness, kind of what's going on with AI and how that impacts communities. We have a whole bunch of things going on in our head, and we want to share that with you because we think it's something that we all share together. Cory, you want to tell us a little about Next Tier?
Yeah. So first off, this is a really kind of interesting way to get our word out, right?
Yeah.
And we've met, and I think this is just the evolution of what it is. So Next Tier, right? Next Tier Insurance, we focus on HOA insurance, but really we saw a need in the market and we're addressing it. You have a ton of experience. The rest of our team has experience, and we want to bring solutions to the table and be a resource, be a trusted resource.
Yeah.
And I think getting this message out, and you talked about wellness. I talked to a manager, and they said, this isn't property management, it's people management. And that's, I think, what we're doing. We're managing people. We're managing their living style, and that's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about you're the guru when it comes to health. Everybody loves some summer, and we want to showcase that. So I think this is, let's see where this goes. Let's have a good time. And we're talking to Jared and our producers, and he said, "Get out of your head."
Yeah.
So let's get out of our head and let's just see where this goes, and let's have a good time.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So
Listen, I think we should start off with something a little bit funny. So let's go into your bad dad jokes and why those even came to be. I mean, tell us that. Tell us how that came to be.
well, I am a dad, which has been, absolutely amazing. I have a 7-year-old daughter, or 8-year-old. She's coming right up on a birthday, and so is my son. My son's 10, and my son's got, he, just like a lot of kids, different challenges. He's on the spectrum, and we always say he can't read a room to save his life. So we've come up with a thing of telling jokes. And when you tell a joke, what happens? You're able to make people laugh.
And it's a connection point,
Yes.
right?
So we do it every morning on the way to school. You want to talk about AI? Use ChatGPT. I'm like, all right, kids, what do you want? Today was about lemonade. So I asked ChatGPT, and we came up with, 2 really bad jokes. So let's start with the first one, right? So
Give it to me.
why? And we have a teleprompter, which is really awkward for me. So I feel like, what were we talking before? Dallas
Do you need
Raines,
to borrow my glasses?
like
or?
the pointing and stuff. So why did the lemon not stop rolling down the hill?
Why?
Because it ran out of juice.
I mean,
I told you these were bad.
but don't.
Yes. And most of the time I have to explain them to my son, but they're really more for the teachers, and there's the security guard there. And
I love that.
it's just a fun.
Well,
it's a real.
you know
fun
what's
connect.
cool about that too is because Luke is the way he is, and I love him so much, is that allows him to kind of get into that practice of talking
Yes.
to people and telling them a short little story and making them laugh. And
And I still have to prompt him every single time. Salutations first. At least say good
hello.
morning.
Yeah.
Because he'll go right in, just right in, which is absolutely it's hilarious. But now everyone expects that. They look forward to it.
Yeah.
And it's a connection. And I think that's what this is. Like, for us, like, we're humans at the end of the day. And a lot of us get so busy in what we do and who we are and what our status is. But this is a human, our business, our life. We're connecting with people. We're helping people. We're all supporting our families. And I think we want to show that human side. So I'm really excited for this, because I think, I always say, it's like, you're our unicorn. And I want to showcase who you are and who we are, what we can do to help and bring some fun to this whole thing.
yeah,
So,
yeah. And I think that's, part of why we're doing this podcast is because you and I believe so genuinely about human connection and how that relates into business, right? How that once you have those true relationships and that builds trust, we create such excellent business partnerships through that.
yeah. Well, that's why you and I are together. We met, quite a few years ago, been friends for years, and, our thoughts and ideas align with each other.
Yes.
And it is. We were kicking around what kind of segments we do for this. I mean, man, doing this podcast has made us think about things that I have no idea, right?
Yeah. And there's a lot of ideas we were like, nope, we're gonna have to scratch that.
Right.
Or
I reached out to my buddy Mike Perloff that started, the HOA Pros podcast.
love he and Kara.
Yeah, and him and Kara, and it's like, what do we do? And he's like, I didn't know what I was doing either, but he gave me some really great advice, and I think we're gonna learn. Our producers had said, yeah, like you're gonna laugh at this episode and down the road. So we're making good highlight reels right now.
Yes. So. I think we should get into some rapid fire questions about.
Well, let's do one more. Let's do the.
You have another joke?
All
right, give it to me.
We always do two, right? We always do two.
All right.
So the other one was. I'm not sure. Can you see that? I can't even see that, Summer. What do you call a sad glass of lemonade?
What?
A sourpuss.
I mean.
So these are bad. This segment might not make it.
I'm sorry to our 3.1 listeners out there.
Yes. This might not make it on the next segment. So why don't we go ahead and move on? Let's go to the rapid fire.
So we go to
questions.
some rapid fire? I think
Yes.
we should. Okay.
Yes.
And this is, for everyone to kind of get to know us, because there's a lot of great people that we have gotten to know, and we don't talk about ourselves very often. So here's a little bit about us. I hope you connect with us. If not, well, then we won't see you on the next podcast. Okay. Hey, rapid fire. Here we go. What is your favorite cuss word? Let's just go right in.
So are my kids listening? Then it's darn.
Yes.
But I mean, it's the old reliable, the word fuck.
Same.
I mean, that's
Same.
just,
If we got to beep that, we will.
Yes.
But all right. Are you an early bird or a night owl?
night owl for sure.
Okay. What's your favorite holiday?
Christmas. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you?
Me too. I love that. Christmas. It just brings like an air and a vibe of energy that everybody comes together and yeah.
And now it's 4 months long.
Love it. I don't hate that.
I know it starts before
that
Halloween.
really upsets a lot of people that
Yeah.
it goes on and on and on, but I'm not mad at it.
Yes.
I dig it.
Do you leave your Christmas lights up forever?
I don't, but I would
if you could.
if my
you didn't live in
husband
an
would
HOA?
allow me to do it. If I didn't live in an HOA, yes. And if my husband would let me.
We're gonna talk about that too. Right?
Yes. What is your favorite guilty pleasure TV show?
Oh, that's a good one.
I know you actually don't watch a lot of TV.
We've talked about that. Yeah, I feel like I'm out of the mix because everyone's like, "Oh, did you watch this show?" This morning I was talking to one of the moms. She's like, "Oh, have you seen this?" I'm like, "No, I haven't seen that." So guilty pleasure. I like The Big Bang Theory.
Okay. All right.
Reminds me of my son. So it's very much, the Sheldon character is
like a mini Sheldon.
Is just a mini Sheldon. Yeah,
well, listen, I am enjoying the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Are there,
I'm not afraid to say it.
How many?
I like the fashion.
How many are there of those? Like 87?
Oh, you mean different? Yeah, I think there's like 87, 88.
It's like different. Dubai. Where is that? Like, how far have they gone into the realm
everywhere.
of that?
It's hit everywhere. It's gone international, the whole thing.
And who's the dude that interviews all of them and they all
Andy
fight with
Cohen.
And they all fight with
Poor
each other.
Andy. Yeah. Yeah, that guy.
They've
got the job.
They've got some legs out of that.
Yeah. Okay. Your go-to karaoke song.
I don't have one, but my wife loves Living on a Prayer, so I've kind of adopted that.
Oh, I like that you brought that in for Tina.
Yes.
What is one song that always gets you hyped? Right? You like need some energy. You put that on and you're jamming out.
I'm gonna Danger Zone from Top Gun.
Yes.
My son now listens to that every morning to get dressed. It's
Does
super
he
motivating.
really? I
It's
love
super
that
motivating.
He does that.
Yeah.
Going old school.
Yeah. What about
the
you?
hype song. Minus anything by Jennifer Lopez, honestly. Like
And every song?
She's got this song called On the Floor.
Yeah.
It's talking about getting on the dance floor, right? It's like getting you're not standing on the wall, you're getting out there and you go and shake your shit on the dance floor.
But before we go further with that, you are always moving.
Yes.
There's always something going on in that head of yours. Help me understand that.
It's
because you're just like bopping along and that. Like what?
People are often asking me, what song do you have playing in your head? Because I'm always shaking the shoulders or what have you. I feel like my life was created with like a soundtrack in the background, and so there's always some form of rhythm or beat going on in my head.
But is it an actual song, or is it just just like, hey, I'm just feeling good?
It's just like a rhythm and a beat and a I think that's one thing I'm all about. I believe in like high vibe energy, and that there's energy we can't see in the space that we live in. And if you bring that high vibe energy to anywhere you're at, other people are going to feel that. Other people are going
Well,
to
you
be
do that.
inspired by that.
Yeah.
And so I totally dig it. And now it's, it started out as kind of a practice when I was younger. And now it's just like a habit. Now it just comes naturally. So
That's impressive. Yeah.
I love it.
I think that's,
I think I should do like a little retreat to teach how to practice that, because it's such a fun way to live. Obviously we've all got stressors. We've all got, shit that goes awry. But if you can turn your head back to a mindset space of optimism, and I could go on a tangent on this. We could do a whole podcast on this one.
Right.
And how your lens that you view life, it changes your perspective on everything, even when stuff is not going well.
But give me a story of that, because when we first met, I wasn't as open-minded as I am now, and I look at that in a very positive way. And I think it's a lot. I've learned a lot from you, and how you look at things and how you approach it. Right? There's always a negative side of things, but it might be raining, but you have an umbrella or whatever it might be. But
yeah,
how's we're talking about these segments and things that we should do, and what can they learn, right? Like what kind of story that you've learned, like, hey, you said now it's just you do it, but when you were practicing it, what were maybe those 2 or 3 things that you did to make it a routine? Yeah.
So as an example, when I was younger and a teenager and I was a driver, I was an angry driver. I was like,
there's a lot of them out there.
Yeah, I was like, yelling at people and all of those things. And just over time, I was tired of being that way. And so over time, I started to look at it as though, what if that person cut me off? What if they're rushing to their parents' bedside because they're passing away? What you do is you take the shift away from you taking things personally, and you try to put your head in where the other person might be, what they might be experiencing. That has helped me throughout my entire life. If you shift how you view other people's perspectives, and that it's not about you, they're not doing these things to you, it really helps you have an element of compassion for people. And listen, it helps you not be pissed all the time, right? It helps you not be angry all the time, which I see a lot of people in that space, where they're just, everything is viewed at in like a pessimistic way. So yeah, the view of optimism really does.
Well, that's interesting
help.
Too, because we're in a very competitive industry, right? And there's a lot going back and forth, and you do a great job of cultivating relationships and bringing opportunities. And when we have those opportunities and we strategize over those together, I take that not pessimistic view, but the view of like, hey, this is what we need to do to get this, or to help. And you always bring that other side of the thing. Well, maybe this, or did we think of that? So it is, because it's been a shift. I'm like, wait, that's how you think of this opportunity, but you're using that mindset. So I think that's a positive way to get the negativity out of your day, because especially in this space and the managers in these industries, it's very high stress, and people have lost their mind after COVID, and the expectations of everybody to be perfect, respond instantly, and it's stressful. I mean,
very much so. They have a lot of stress on them.
I mean, I think I have 7 different email addresses that I manage, and it's like, it's a lot, and everybody's got that. And, in our space, some of these people are managing 5, 6, 7 properties, and they have, a lot of stress. So that's why I want this part of this podcast is I really want to hone in on that. And you've already displayed the magic that we want to dig into.
Oh, thank you for that.
Let's keep going.
And let's get back to our rapid fire then.
Okay.
That was like a little tangent for a moment, which I'm okay with. Let's see. Okay. Oh, if you could swap lives with someone for a day, dead or alive, who would it be?
We were going through these questions like in a millisecond. Frank Sinatra. He was the cat back in the day.
I love that you said that immediately when we were talking about this.
I would.
You knew.
You see those right? There's those starter questions, like conversation starters or whatever. But it would be just an era and a time, and
the era. Yeah. So different and so good.
Yeah.
So
everybody
good.
wore a suit. Like it was
right.
I'm wearing joggers now.
I mean, that looks good too. But that was the formal elegance of back then, right?
Yeah. What about you? Jennifer Lopez?
You know what? Probably. Listen, she's an actress, a dancer, a singer, business. I mean, she's a business mogul with
Yeah.
all of the products that she's created. I think that
She's been with a few high profile
well,
people.
I wouldn't have minded that either. What was your first job?
You know what? We were talking about this before. It's like, what was your first paying job? I'm like, well, like you said, babysitting, right? I'm gonna go ahead, but I mean, paper route. But I used to work at Alpha Beta.
Yeah.
Then dating myself a grocery store,
Yeah,
a courtesy clerk. Yeah, I think I lied about my age and started working when I was 14 years old. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I was kind of similar to that as far as like I wanted to work as soon as possible.
Yes, I want
didn't
my own
want to
money,
put that
right?
off. Yes, I want to make my own money. I don't want to have to ask for anything. And so I got 2 jobs at
Nice.
16, which was when we were able to start working back in my day. And
What was the minimum wage back in your day?
oh my God, $3.25.
Okay, I was $4.
That
yeah.
is crazy.
What
to
is it
think
now?
about. Isn't it like $20 now?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah.
Holy moly. I was a cake decorator at Baskin-Robbins, which was kind of cool. I got to like
Did you
show
know
my
how to
creative
decorate
side.
cakes?
Hell no. But I just I'm like, hey, I can be creative. And, they kind of taught me. And anyway, that was fun. And then I also worked at Marine World Africa, USA.
That's
That
exotic.
was cool. That was super cool.
What were you doing?
I was a girl checking in people, selling them tickets to enter the park.
Okay, well,
Fancy.
all right, okay.
Okay. What is the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
That always comes up. I don't know. I'm gonna let you answer that one first.
I think for me, and that's a hard one because I've been given a lot of good advice, but when I started in the corporate world at age 18,
Let's dig into some of our past.
yeah, so I started it was an engineering and construction company called Floor Daniel, and I started as a copy girl, and I worked my way up, and I, over the years went into contracts, and so I was working with a lot of attorneys, which I loved, and
Well, now you're doing that again.
I'm doing it again. It all kind of ties together. For a short stint of about 20 years, I worked alongside Homeland Security, which was also cool. We were selling electronic security systems. And there's a piece of me that loves helping and giving back. And especially after 9/11, working in that space really helped us feel like we were doing something good.
Making a difference.
We
right?
were making a difference. And then I did a lot of health and wellness alongside of all of that. And then when
And
I
you
met,
still do.
I do.
Yeah.
And I love it. And then when I met you, the HOA industry was introduced to me, and I was like, holy crap, I didn't even know this was a thing. And the people that are involved in this space are tremendous.
And that's what you're doing, right? You're helping people. You're making a difference. You're finding solutions.
Yep.
And
Yep.
you're
and really creating those connections, and those relationships.
and
we
you
find
are amazing at
the
that.
people that we're doing business with, like they become our real friends,
Yeah.
which is just super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now I have to tell mine.
You do have to tell yours.
You think I would have thought of that more, but I go more of it's like a mantra, a thing of like the answer is no unless you ask, and I think that's that's maybe not advice, but it's really
But you say that
the
often.
way to approach things, right? If we wait and let things happen to us or wait our turn for things, I think we miss out. And this world is so fast. It's like, go get it.
Yes.
And I think that's the approach. And we're going to stub our toes a bunch of times.
Yep.
And we're doing it right now.
I was going to say, right? Exactly. Like we have so many times already, and
Yeah.
we will continue to do so.
Right.
And that's okay.
Right.
Like as long as we take those as learning, moments, that's going to help us be better.
And be human, right? Like I think we've lost the human element of a lot of things, right? Everything's so easy. It's on your phone. It's this and that. But sometimes you just want to say, you can call somebody and say, am I okay?
Yeah.
Just to be able to call a friend, say I'm okay. I'm like, from insurance, hey, are we covered? Are we good? You need that affirmation because it's crazy. There's so much out there. There's so many, I don't want to say scams, but so many things going on that we all can't be experts in everything.
Yeah.
So, right, narrow in on your expertise, hone in on that, know that, and then work with other, trusted people we have there. I mean, I'm here at this podcast because of Chris Chudikoff. He's a great friend of mine.
Chris.
He's a mortgage guy that's done I've introduced
I do
you
business
to
with
him,
him. Mhm.
right? And you establish those long relationships, and then whatever they're doing, you're like, wait, I want to be part of that.
Yeah.
That's why we're here in this studio,
Yeah.
because of Chris. I did an interview a few months ago. And it's like, we got to be part of this. The guys here are amazing, you know.
I love Jacob and Jeremy.
Yeah. And it really just comes down to, the more I always talk about bullpen, where's your bullpen of people, right? We have one segment here that we're kicking around like, I got a guy, right? I'm Cory, and I have another friend that his name is Cory. His wife calls me 2.0, because whatever her husband does, he gets one bounce house. I got to get 4 bounce houses. But I got a guy for this. I got a guy for that.
Everybody knows you for that, Cory. If someone needs someone.
And that's part of being of service, right? I just don't want to tell you what to do. What's your problem? Let me walk hand in hand with you, find out what that is, and then find the solution. And then now I got that solution.
Yeah.
So that's how we're doing with the insurance stuff too. Of like, hey, I know we're not talking about HOA insurance. We're talking about how you live in a community, right? And there's going to be those things. You're going to need health and wellness. You're going to need legal advice. You're going to need all these things. And I think we all think that we should all have it down and know how to do everything, right, in this world. Oh, you just Google it, or now like ChatGPT, we put this whole thing together with that, right? But it's like, where is the human connection? And we're so connected digitally, but we're so disconnected. There's so many people that they don't have that human interaction. Like, go to dinner, set the phone down, and have a podcast conversation. Yep. We don't do that. We're like, oh, you're talking about something, and the next thing you're like, oh, let me Google it. You lose that, right? Yeah. It's the same thing. I was watching all these videos and stuff. The guy's like, if you do a speech and you put your hand, you have a phone in your hand and you're talking, the person already knows that you're not the most important person because you have that phone in your hand, right? So it's like, how can we stop, slow down, have a conversation, be human with each other, and find out, like, we got a lot of common ground.
Yeah.
A lot of common ground. And we use there's all these divisive things, but we just stop. It's like, everyone's trying to do the best they can. They're trying to support their family. They're trying to find their way. And it's like, I think there's a lot of divisiveness, but there's a lot of things that, like, we're all struggling the same way to get to where we want to get. We have different paths, but we're all going in the same direction.
I feel like we all have way more in common than when we think. Yeah. You know, I feel like a lot of times people will go into a room and they'll look for reasons why we wouldn't connect, or the things we don't have in common, when we have a whole lot more in common than you really think.
Yeah.
And, you know, speaking of the giving back, you know, one of the things that I love that we're doing is offering to managers and board members, you know, to do this complimentary review of what they've got. Right now, it's so important to make sure that they don't have, you know, a lack of coverage, a gap in their coverage, you know, for their largest asset, essentially. So I love that
I think we're talking ourselves out of a lot of business too.
But you know what? There are several, right? Yeah. That, I mean, I talk to daily, and I'm like, you know what? Stay where you're at. Yeah. You're good. You know, things are so tumultuous right now in the market that I think that also makes me proud, right? Obviously, we're in business to get more business. Yeah. However, if we know it's the right thing to tell you to, you know, stay where you're at, we're going to do that. So I like that about us.
And I think that's kind of in every step of life, right? It's integrity, right? It's doing the right thing, even when no one's looking.
Right.
And when you have integrity, you're not always at the top of the leaderboard. Mm-hmm. And we might not be at the top of the leaderboard, but we're gonna do what's right. We're going to sleep well, and we know that all of our clients are taken care of. Yep. Especially, you know, in the recent LA fires, right? There's a lot of people that are realizing that they didn't have what they thought they had.
Right.
Because
our friend Robert, for example.
Yes. Yeah. So, and maybe we'll have him on this podcast.
We definitely will have him on.
Yeah. So my point being with that is we assume that everything's okay, but until it gets tested. So I want to kind of touch on some of these things as we go through, of like, what assumptions are we making in life that we think are just there when they're really not? And we have that with relationships. We have that with many different aspects of our life. So it'll be interesting. Do we have any more? We've gone completely off topic.
I know we have gone. We're all over the place. Yeah. If you're still here, yes, we'll buy you a coffee.
Yes.
What's a bucket list item for you?
Ooh, that's a good one.
You want me to go?
Yes.
I'll go. Okay. So one of my bucket list items is...
Wow, you know this.
Listen, that's the thing, is like, you know, I talk about manifesting often.
Yes.
If you're going to manifest something, you need to be super clear. You need to be clear about it. You need to know what that feels like to obtain whatever that thing is you want. And so the more clear you are, the more quickly You're
will
going to
happen.
manifest that
Yeah.
thing. So I want to move to Bali and Italy, 3 months each.
Hopefully not in the next couple of years.
I'm not leaving you, don't worry.
Okay.
So 3 months in Bali, 3 months in Italy, just rent an Airbnb, something.
Oh,
quite
it's like an
something-
extended vacation. Like, you want to
Yeah,
live
but
there, live there?
I want to stay there. So I guess it's an
Okay.
extended vacation,
Okay.
right? So whether I sell all my things, sorry,
Right.
Bill, whether I sell all my
Yeah,
things
your husband might have a
and,
different-
and move there, right? Anyway, I want to experience all that is the like the nature-filled Bali.
Yeah.
And you have your, it's incredible. I'll show you pictures.
Yeah.
Or also Italy. So
Okay.
I want to rent a big Airbnb at both of them, have friends come visit over that 3-month period. And
So experiences, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I feel
Is
like
there-
as you, especially as you mature in life, you
The
want experiences
Yeah.
than all the other things.
I think the Great Wall. I need to check that out. Yeah. Or even some of the 7 wonders of the world, right? There's some amazing stuff out there. I think traveling is so important.
Yeah.
We have this US microcosm that we think we're so important, and everything revolves around this, but get outside the US and see how the rest of the world works and operates. And I think we can have, going back to that, we have a lot more in common.
Yes.
We could all be a little softer and nicer with each other. I like your thing where you're saying about driving. You used to be super aggressive. I'm the same way. I'm like, you probably have somewhere else to go anyways.
Yeah.
You're going to be 2 cars in front of me. Good for you.
It really does take your intensity down a notch when you're just like, it's fine. They must be going after something else. There's something else must be bothering them. It has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
It just, and listen, all that, when you take your intensity down a notch, when something would typically upset you, it impacts your entire life. All of it. Impacts your family. It impacts how you show up at work. It impacts how, your alone time when you're by yourself. It can be a really beautiful thing when you switch that pessimistic voice in your head to a little more optimistic.
And this is why I wanted to start this podcast, because I need more people to know what I get to experience on a daily basis working with you.
Oh, thank you.
So, and I think,
and thank you for being open to it, because not everyone is. A lot of people that it's just outside of their ability to think that is something possible.
It's a practice, like you said, but I think when people get discouraged or they don't get the success they want, they shut down, right?
Yeah.
Like, I was listening to some clip, because we've listened to like 9 million clips, but he's like, you're definitely not going to achieve your goal if you give up.
Exactly.
Right? So we might not be making great strides, great progress, but are you just keep moving forward? Mm-hmm. It's like going to the gym, right? If you go to the gym one day and you work out, it doesn't look different.
Yep.
But if you go day after day after day after day, and
it's all happening under the hood.
Yep.
And then one time you're going to be like, oh shit, I'm a changed person.
Yes.
Right.
Like, I can go to the beach now. Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see what we can talk about and get into different topics on the wellness side of things, because I think it does play into so much of the people that we're servicing.
Agreed.
And helping. This HOA community space, the people are underappreciated, overworked.
Right.
And
if we can help give them tools
yes,
to not only make their business life better and more fulfilling, but also their home life and their personal life, I think that'd be really cool.
I think we need to change this whole, change the whole perspective of things. Like, right, you live in an HOA, a large HOA, and before we were in this space, right, you would say, oh, it's the damn HOA that was doing that.
Right.
And when you look under the hood and see what happens and all the regulation and the laws and the stuff that governs these, you see like, wait, these people are trying to do the best they can. Some of them,
and they're all volunteers.
Yeah,
right?
the pay's not very good.
I mean, the pay's not very good. So
As I
I mean,
always
you're
say,
volunteering to essentially run, a $100 million corporation, if you will, right?
Yeah.
That is an HOA, which is
Well, we got some interesting characters.
there's
right?
some really great ones out there,
Yes.
and then there's some that we could maybe use a couple tips,
A little highlight reel.
which we're
of
happy
those.
to help them with.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe that's some educational stuff there too. How to be a kinder, softer board member.
Yeah, actually, that's one thing I love about you is you really love and enjoy educating. So we, with all of the things we've been doing lately, which is, meeting with boards, meeting with management companies, and really helping them understand what the heck is going on in this crazy insurance market. I feel like they feel more empowered, right? Because they're more knowledgeable. And then they also know, okay, when it really gets to the nitty gritty, we're going to bring in our professionals, the people the experts that know all of the things. But I love that you love being an educator of those things because I think it's important.
Yeah, my mom was a teacher. So, for many, many years, I won't tell her how many, but she started as a teacher and ended her career as a teacher. And what I took from her is she got invites to weddings for kids that she taught second grade, fifth grade.
How cool is that?
Right. So the heart of a teacher, right? And it's that thing. If you have that heart of a teacher, you're giving back throughout this whole thing.
Yep.
And I think that's what it is. If you have knowledge or if you have information that you can help someone else, you do that on the wellness side. It's like, I see you're struggling. Like, have you tried this? This what's worked for me.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big thing of what we run into is, again, like you should have it all put together. We don't know. We're all doing the best that we can in this world.
And if I'm 1 or 2 steps ahead of you and something's worked for me, we will share with you. It's like that with anything, right?
Yeah. I mean, that reminds me of kind of, I'm going to name drop a couple names, but Kara Foley and our associate that works with us, Elise. Kara is very open about her journey with breast cancer. And she's very communicative on social media and stuff, and has been a beacon for a lot of people.
Yes, she is.
And I think that's great because it takes a certain type of person to be that vulnerable to everyone. I mean, she pictures of her not having her hair and this and that. I was like, good
with
for
her
you.
Huge,
I'm like,
sparkly smile.
I don't know if I can do that. But then you might have someone that's more private that maybe they're not going to do that and communicate, but they can get advice, inspiration for watching somebody else that's gone through that journey. So I think part of this is too of like, we're human, we're trying to do this, we're starting a business. We have like many, many years of experience, but this is a new thing that we want to do, and we want to elevate all this. We talk about in our industry elevating, right? That's it. Let's elevate the human side of this business.
Yes, please.
Because it has gotten so divisive and so just to the dollar. What are we doing? Is this the cheapest thing that we can do? Is this,
right.
It's not going to net the best results. So, So I don't know what else. We're already at a closing segment, but anything else that we should touch on? We're going to get better at this.
I feel like we've talked about a lot of different things and ping-ponged all over the place.
Which is kind of fun.
Yeah. It's always fun having conversations with you because we do end up in a bunch of different places. But I feel like it's always, meaningful and sometimes funny. And
give me a little bit more actually about, because I've touched on, my wife is part of this business, our kids. Your husband, Bill, he's one of my favorite people.
Aw.
He
feels the same about you.
He's my dude. Because what I love about Bill is Bill does what Bill wants to do. If Bill doesn't want to do something, Bill doesn't do something.
He's not doing it.
So, and that's just as your positivity is that, I've learned from him of like, if you don't want to do something, just say no.
Yeah.
That word no is,
and that's okay.
It's powerful.
Right? Yeah, it is.
I mean, you're not being disrespectful, but it's like a lot of times we want to help. I'm guilty of that. I take on a lot. Like I want to be helpful. But then if you get overwhelmed, you're not doing anything great.
Right.
So that time management, that goes with our whole space. It's hard to juggle all of the obligations, all of the things. So we're going to get more into that. I think from us, we want to make this a little interactive. We're going to talk to people. We're going to talk to people in our industry. We're going to talk to health professionals. We're going to talk to all types of things that excite us.
Yeah.
And if this falls flat on its face, that's fine too.
Then that's okay. But if our few listeners, like these things excite you too, and you find it interesting, and I mean, our whole goal is really to bring community together and talk about things that we all it helps us thrive together.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So, well, I think we're going to call
thanks for being here.
We're going to call this one a wrap.
Let's do it. Hey, thanks for being here. If you like this podcast and maybe where we're going, subscribe to our channel. See you next time.